Tony Stewart has provided more details on what happened that led to him splitting ways with Donny Schatz, and he confirmed that they did not mutually part ways. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. Stewart has given a couple of interviews to a number of different outlets. Obviously, he also issued this statement in a press release where he indicated that the change was due to a lack of performance. In that press release where he announced that Schatz was being replaced with Kerry Madsen, Stewart said, "In the past few years, we've weathered changes in the sport and our performance hasn't been to the level that both Donny and I expect. We're both competitors to our core, and we both hold ourselves to a high standard of performance that we've struggled to obtain. Making a change now gives each of us the chance to reset and refocus before 2026. And to that point, they have not won a race with the World of Outlaws this year yet, even though I think they're in sixth place in points. But he provided more details first to Sprint Car Unlimited, where he reiterated it was due to performance, telling the outlet it was just performance. It had nothing to do with the Nationals. It's just been multiple years of not going in the right direction. But I thought he did a really good job at the Nationals, rebounding on Friday and Saturday and salvaging an 11th place run out of it. So I was proud of the weekend, but it's that saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. He went on to add that Donny isn't happy and hasn't been happy for a long time with performance. I'm frustrated because I've given him everything he's asked for, and we just can't seem to find the combination to get him where he wants to be. We're not frustrated at each other. We're just frustrated at the situation. At some point, you've just got to make a change, and it's kind of where we're at today. He then elaborated on this while explaining why a change needed to happen immediately. He said, "We needed to change the direction. I read someone online saying I'm an a-hole and I could have let him finish out the season. Well, Donny never signed his contract this year, and we didn't know if he was going to finish. There was a part with the Ford stuff that if we didn't switch the motor deal over, thank God I ordered motors last year, and he had to run the Ford, he was going to quit. So the reason for the change is kind of the same thing as Stewart Haas Racing. It gives him time now to work on the rest of the season. He'll get something. He's way too good of a driver to not have a ride, but it gives him time to get something put together for next season instead of waiting until the bottom of the ninth. It also gives us the same opportunity." And I know a lot of people have kind of already been saying that because he's referencing Stewart Haas Racing here, that he might end up shutting down his sprint car operations. He said that he would not be doing that, both in an interview with Sprint Car Unlimited here, as well as another interview that we're going to kind of go over with Kyle McFadden over at Flow Racing. He made it very clear that he does not plan on shutting down his sprint car team at the end of the year at all. He plans on continuing to race. Anyways, he went on and said, "But we had to try something. We can't just sit there and keep doing the same thing and think it's just magically going to get better. So I felt like it was the right thing to do to give Donny an opportunity to put something together. It's not ideal by any means. None of it is, but there is no offseason in sprint car racing anymore. So at some point it had to happen." Additionally, Stewart indicated he had expended a ton of resources on trying to improve the team's performance. He said it's been a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we just haven't been able to give him what he's looking for. I've exhausted all of my resources. There's never been a time where I told him no to anything he's asked for. I've always given him what he wanted, and when you do that and run through everything, you realize there's really nothing else we can do. This is probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make because we've been together so long. I mean, we've done a lot of great things together in 17 and a half years. We've done more than probably any team out there, but it just isn't going in the right direction." So that is what he said to Sprint Car Unlimited. He reiterated much of these comments, as I kind of mentioned in a separate interview with Flow Racing's Kyle McFadden. However, he made it clear that it was not a mutual decision, and Stewart did indeed let Schatz go. He said this, "I don't think Donny was happy to get the phone call Tuesday morning about it, but I don't think anybody really does, especially when you've had the success with each other. But somebody's got to give, and somebody's got to make that a hard decision. I'm not going to speak for him, but I would venture to say there's probably a couple times during the season up to this point where he's probably thought he might need a change too. It's who gives in first. And like I said, this isn't a situation where I'm upset with him. I feel bad that we haven't been able to get him happy in the car like we used to." From there, he elaborated on how much he tried to improve the car's performance and get the feel right for Schatz, but just wasn't able to do that. He says, "I feel like we've thrown the kitchen sink at it. We've really tried everything. We've had three crew chiefs during that stint. We've had 3 different motor programs. We've been on every shock package that there is available. We tried literally every shock that's available. We've tried different torsion bars. We've tried everything. We haven't just been sitting on our hands. We've tried to figure this out. It's sort of to the point where I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do to get to get him the feel he's looking for with the motors and chassis and all that. So at some point, it's kind of like I told Jeremy, I said it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. At some point, you just got to say, this isn't working anymore. It's not the personalities that isn't working. It's just whatever it is that we had just isn't working anymore. Later in the interview, Stewart actually claimed he ended his sprint car career because he was trying to ensure that Donny was happy with the team and driving the car. He said, I quit driving a sprint car because Donny was feeling things in a motor that I wasn't feeling, and I felt like I was a bad teammate and a bad owner for not feeling the same stuff Donny was feeling. So I stepped down out of my own race car, put Kerry in it to try to get somebody in there that might feel more than what I was feeling to try to help develop this motor for Donny. And it's ended my sprint car career because of it. But that's the dedication I had to the program, was that I cared more about getting Donny happy with the motors than I did myself being in a race car. And so I think, again, that's one of the most frustrating aspects of the BS that I've read today and the frustration that I have today at this point. So that is what Tony Stewart has had to say about why he decided to part ways with Donny Schatz after 17 and a half years, and making it very clear that it was not a decision that they came to mutually, that it was Tony Stewart making that hard decision and letting Donny Schatz go. I think we'll see what happens. Sometimes he's right. You just need a different something needs to happen. You need a change. You need a change of venue. You need something different needs to happen. And we've kind of seen this in the late model world with Tim McCready. He jumped over to Rocket. He was working with them. He struggled much of last year. He started to improve later in the season, won the Topless 100 with them, but was still not performing to what we thought was going to happen. He makes the move. He joins Briggs Transport. They switch back to Longhorns, and he's clicking off wins and having a grand old time behind the wheel and just really excelling. So sometimes maybe you just need a different you need something to change, right? McCready's talked about how he looks at things differently. He decided to chase the World of Outlaws instead of Lucas Oil, and it was just something different, and that has kind of maybe changed his mindset a little bit, and it's allowed him to look at things differently, and he's performing better now to that. And maybe that's what we see happen here with Tony Stewart Racing as they bring in Kerry Matson. Maybe we start seeing them perform as they've got something different going on here, and then wherever Donny Schatz lands, maybe we see something similar happen to him there, because obviously he clearly has the talent. We saw that at Knoxville as he made that kind of run through the B main and into the A main, and then finishing in 11th in the A main on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. Definitely a huge kind of storyline to follow here. But that is what Tony Stewart has had to say, both to Sprint Car Unlimited as well as to Flow Racing. So let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.